Okay, we've got Ephra here from the Oregon Health Sciences University School of Nursing, and today's talk is basically School of Nursing from OHSU, so welcome Ephra.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm loud enough for camera as well as for everybody here. Hope you all are doing well. Yes, like mentioned, my name is Ephra. I'm a Dallas alum, graduated 2013 here, so I guess to show my age, how many of you know Mr. Hamill? Yeah, me and him were in classes together, so if that shows anything, yeah. So yes, he was a year older than me, so we took AP Spanish together with Mr. Woolner. I don't know if he's still here, so yeah, that also shows our ages, right? So I'm just glad to be here. So I'm not a nurse nor a doctor, so I'm an advisor for the student. I'm a student including success coordinator for the role. So I provide resources for the current students as well as future students. So that's why I'm here doing a presentation, kind of helping you learn about what it takes to go into the School of Nursing, specifically with OHSU, but just in general, how you can get into the School of Nursing of wherever you decide on going. So really quickly, we do a little route to how do you get your bachelor's degree in science and nursing, life as a student after BSN program, Q&A, and we'll have a Kahoot at the end. I don't know if you here, but one of you will win $5, so two Dutch Bros. So the chances are 1 in 4, so you know the chances are. Some quick facts about OHSU. We're ranked number 11th in the nation when it comes to bachelor's degree in science and nursing. According to U.S. News World Report, I don't know how credible they are, but if they're saying that we're top 11, then I will take it. So, Oregon's only academic health center. I will make a few Grey's Anatomy references throughout the whole thing. So, as you can tell, it's not as dramatized as Grey's Anatomy, but yes, we're the only school that is a hospital here in Oregon. So, there's programs that are connected to hospitals and all that, but we are literally a university that's a hospital. So, clinical experience range for you, depending on the location that you are applying or are part of the OHSU program, there'll be clinical experiences close to that vicinity, so that community that you're serving. So, we're nationally recognized, and we have staff and faculty that are nationally recognized. For example, our associate dean or our principal for our program here at Monmouth, she's from Scotland, but she has her doctorate in research and in education of nursing. So, and she's also been a nurse for many, many years. So, again, she has a lot of experience, and she's been published a lot. So, I have other professors in our program. So, we have 5 campuses across Oregon. Student support and resources are given to every student, especially if they're in a university collaboration or, I guess, connected to a university OHSU program. They'll get to use both services. As well as there's over 20 nursing pathways available after you get your degree. So, like I mentioned before, we have 5 campuses in total. I work at Western, so literally 10 minutes from here. So the Monmouth program. How many of you are familiar with Portland? Right, it's only an hour here. Do y'all remember the little weird thing that connects buildings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the tram, I forget what it's called, the tram, yeah. That's actually connecting both OHSU programs. So the top is the education, actual hospital, and the bottom is more of like clinic. So after you have your surgery, you'll meet at the bottom facility. So yeah, it connects both. It helps doctors go to both locations. So yes, obviously it's also just a means of transport for Portland. But yeah, if you didn't know, both of those buildings are OHSU. If you want to go down south to Ashland or Southern Oregon University or Oregon Institute of Technology or OIT, we're located over there as well. Or if you want to go to the east side, LeGrand or Eastern Oregon University, we're located over there. We do have virtual programs, but again, physical in-person programs, those 5 locations. So I'll talk a little bit about the steps on going into nursing school and how to become a nurse. So to simplify it, you have to do prerequisites, so you have to go to college. After those prerequisites, you join a program. Depending on how long the program is, you do that many years. And then afterwards, you have the education to take the board exam to be a nurse. Once you pass it, you're a registered nurse. It's very simplified. I'm not saying it's that easy, but just simplified. So from that, you can get your bachelor's degree in science and nursing or an associate's degree in science and nursing. So this diagram kind of shows both, but I'll talk a little bit about it. So in our program at OHSU, at Western, you get your bachelor's degree in science and nursing. So what happens is you'll do your 2 years of prerequisites. You could do it at Western or community college, doesn't matter where. From there, you apply during your 2nd year of your education. Once you get accepted, it'll be 3 years after that, so 5 years in total. And after those 5 years, you have the education, take your board exam, pass, you're a nurse. If you wanted to go through like an associate's or community college, you could do the 2 years of community college. Their programs are relatively shorter, so 2 years, very accelerated, no summers off kind of thing, just going straight to it. You'll have the education after that, like to take the board exam, but you'll have an associate's degree in science and nursing. So you're still a registered nurse, hospitals are still wanting you, but some hospitals or bigger facilities might want you to go back to school and get your BSN. It will only be a year longer, but being a nurse and the high demand that it is in the nursing field, plus going to school, might be a little difficult. But at the end of it, you'll get a BSN and again, you're still back at it. There's pros and cons to both. More affordable if you go through the associate's degree or community college route. But you start off at a higher pay if you have a BSN, because the higher the degree, usually the higher the salary. So yeah, there's pros and cons to both. 3 years of nursing and non-nursing courses are offered out of school. I know it says ranked 10th in the program, but really we're ranked 11th. Offered at all 5 campuses. Fall start once a year. So it's again, every year we start, we only have one cohort go through at a time. Or go through and get started. So, and 90% first time NCLEX pass rate. So the NCLEX is the board certificate to become a nurse. So we have 90% pass rate for our first time graduates, which is pretty high. During the 3 years, you're actually getting practice exams throughout. So think of it as like a PSAT, SAT prep during your time in school. So we're helping you learn how to take those exams, because the NCLEX is a difficult test to kind of describe it from what people have told me from that passed it and are going through it. It's a very hard exam. One question will have 4 answers, and each answer is correct. But one answer is more correct than the rest, so you have to choose that. Alright, so it's a little hard. And what makes it a little bit more difficult is that the next question, if you get that question right, will be harder than the last question. And you'll be tested to see if you can meet the knowledge that this Oregon requires for a nurse to have. So again, you might get one wrong, but you'll get the next 2 right, and just keep going. And there you go. But again, this is a hard exam, but that's what you would want for people that are serving you and trying to help you get better, right? So, yeah. Prerequisites, very simple. I know anatomy and physiology is offered out of Dallas, but that is an intro to anatomy and physiology in college course credit. So when you go to college, you'll need to take their anatomy and physiology series. So it's like 3 courses, so 3 different terms. I know college algebra is offered here in Dallas. If you pass it and get the college credits, you are done with that second prerequisite. So you can do something before you leave high school. You already got one of the requirements on. Nutrition, again, just basics of nutrition. Writing English composition. So if you pass college writing here in your high school and you get the college credit, you'll actually have half of that credit finished. You'll need to go back to school, or when you go do your prerequisites, you'll just need to get up to math or writing 121. So it's just one more class. But again, that's less classes that you need to take if you can finish that here. Lifespan of human development is a psychology class. It talks about the development of a person before they're born or during the time they are being born to after they die. Microbiology with lab is bio with a lab component to it. So, as well as social science electives. So it lets you take the versatility of just taking any courses. It says up to 6 credits, but that's usually 2 courses in total. Of anything that usually ends with an ology. So anthropology, psychology, philosophy, anything that kind of sparks your interest, take at least 2 of those credits. We want the minimum, I guess, score is a C minus. But again, the higher the credit, the better. We are looking for a 3.0 when it comes to these prerequisites, but the higher the better. And after 28 college credits, so usually after your first year, you can apply to our programs, as long as you're on track to finish all these before you start the program. Admission process, deadline's February 15th. You go through an online service called Nursing CAS, and that is the nursing application system through all the United States. So whatever nursing program you're interested in, you're going to go through that system. So, and I can state this because they told us we can. So this is the amount of spots, and I think 2 years ago, the application, how many people applied to these programs. So Right now, Monmouth, or Western Oregon University program, accepts the most students, so we accept more than Portland. Which is surprising, right? Because they're a bigger campus, right? But yeah, no, we accept more students. And we also have half of the people that apply, compared to Portland. They have 36 spots and over 360 people apply. We had 40 spots and had 140 people apply. Other schools have less people applying, but there's also less spots available. And those schools usually have something unique to them that makes it not the most desired, right? You all live here, so if you wanted to stay local and live local, then Western is probably the best program. But the next one would be Portland. But when you apply, you can only apply to one program at a time, a year. So you make the decision what school you want to do that or decide on. Once you make that decision, you cannot apply to any other ones. At least when it comes to OHSU. You can apply to other programs from other schools, just you can only pick one destination for OHSU. Once you apply and get accepted, or get to the next round, it's usually an interview process. Our process is through Kira Town. You all are very familiar with Zoom, probably by now. So think of the interview as a virtual interview. You'll see a recording of the question from somebody, maybe even me. Once the question is stated, you're given 90 seconds to think about your response and 3 minutes to respond. You only get one try per question. So if you have a dog and you're doing this at home and they start barking, that's going to be part of the recording. You can't delete that. So you can't ask to redo it. Once it's done, it's done. You're given a deadline of when you need to complete all your questions. You don't need to do all the questions in one day. You could do one Monday, 3 on Wednesday, the rest on Sunday. Doesn't matter. Just have a deadline. Once that deadline is set, you just need to complete them all by then. So once the interview is done, give it about a month for us, the staff, to review the applicants. We grade them, and then we decide on who's going to get accepted. And a month from that, you get told whether you get accepted or not. If you get accepted, you start in the fall. So you're given a few months to prep, do some stuff for us, some administrative stuff for us. But yeah, some factors for admissions, obviously GPA, the higher the better, but it's not the only thing we're looking at. If you can complete prerequisites in the anatomy and physiology series before you apply, you get additional points in your application. If you have healthcare experience, it's cool, but it's not everything. We're looking for people that are coachable and teachable, right? Just because somebody has a CNA license, we don't want them to assume that they know everything already. As, sometimes some people are just a little hard-headed like that, but really, you're learning from people that have been nurses for many years, and they have a degree specifically in teaching in nursing. So being able to be coachable is what we want to see, as well as life experiences. If you have family members that have been part of the health system, been sick most of their life, and you've been there and witnessed that, that's important. But again, it's all about how you talk about it. You can say you volunteered, but what did you learn from that experience? Other than just giving out food to people that need it. All right? Learn how to talk about that. Works for scholarships, and we have scholarships as well. So that's what we're looking for when we do that. Chemistry courses, not a prerequisite, but if you take chemistry in college and you pass it, you get additional points. Oregon residents, of course, as well as, for an example, if you decide you want to stay local and you want to go to Western Oregon University's OHSU program, if you take your prerequisites or your first 2 years of college at Western, and you use those credits to transfer to our program, you get additional points in your application. So half of the students we accepted last year were from Western. So you can see that there is value into taking the prerequisites at that school. Ways to improve your application, like I said, if you can complete the prerequisites before you apply, you get a lot of points for that. But specifically the anatomy and physiology series. It's very hard to get into because so many students are wanting to do this to join the medical field. So if there's a way that you get in your first term, your freshman year, that's crazy. You are very lucky. It's very difficult, but if you can complete it before you apply, there's a lot of points for that as well. C-minus are better for all the classes, as well as taking the time to answer every question. So in our application, there are some optional questions. Please take the time to do them. That just means that you're dedicating and you really want to join our program. Because there are some students that don't, and most of the time they don't get in. So, like I mentioned, our program's a 3-year program. So first year, you're learning to know how to talk to a patient. Going back to Grey's Anatomy a little bit, if you've seen the show, a lot of patients lie, and it's because it's hard to build trust with the doctor or the nurse. So Then in your first year, you're learning how to talk to patients. You all live close to DRV, right, Dallas Retirement Village. A lot of our students go and do a couple of their terms over there, and they're learning how to talk to patients, learning how to build trust, because if they trust you, they'll tell you actually how they feel. And once you learn that, you are able to provide better care for them. So in your second year, you're doing more hands-on stuff. You're getting certified. You're going more clinical setting, more hospitals. You're getting certified to prescribe, or not prescribe, but to give out medicine, because if you don't do the dosage right, if you don't know how to do the dosage to be correctly with the math, you could overdose somebody, and that's not good. So, as well as you're, I guess, dabbling a little bit in different departments. You're not just going to be stuck in the ER, because that might be very intense for a student that is still not ready to be a nurse, right? So you get into a lot of different fields. But during that experience for your last year, your last 6 months specifically, you get to decide on where you want to do your education. Spend the rest of your education. So you're now pulling nursing shifts. You're working 12 hours on, 12 hours off, or however your schedule is at these locations. So, for example, last year a student wanted to be in the prenatal care. So premature babies that are born, they need more care, because not just because they're small. A baby's already small. Imagine this, half the size of a baby, right? So it's like even really tiny. They need all that additional care, and they wanted to do that, and they did. They're from Jefferson, so like 25 minutes from here, and they went all the way to Eugene, which would have been like a 40-minute commute for them. But they were working shifts, like in that department, and they actually are currently working there now, because they just loved it so much. As well as during those last 6 months, you are working technically, right? You're learning a lot, but you're also technically an employee, just not getting paid, unfortunately. But those people that are your supervisors, as well as all the people like watching you, they're going to possibly be your colleagues. And if there's a job opening, they will tell you to apply, because they see that you're already familiar. They want to see that. They want to continue that growth. So, most programs require at least 1,100 hours of clinical experience. Our bare minimum for our program is 1,470. So that's 300 plus hours additional that you will get of experience. That is so much help. That's very helpful and gets you more prep for when you do transition to being a nurse. Travel is required, so even if you are from this area, we might ask you to go work in Silverton Hospital or Salem Hospital, and this requires you to travel. So, but for other programs like Eastern Oregon over there in La Grande, we might have you go all the way to Boise, Idaho, because that's the next biggest hospital for them. Because that's a lot closer. Weirdly enough, even though it's like only 3 hours, 3.5 hours from here, it's closer than you would have to go to Portland. So, yeah, and in those schools, they do pay for your transportation. Just when you're doing something more local, you do not. So, simulation lab. So each student has scenario days. So you are in your scrubs, and we have a room specifically for this. More people and even paid actors come in to play their role as a patient. And you are given a scenario, situation, or simulation in this case, and you're supposed to provide care. So I did not know there was paid actors when they told me when I got hired. I just saw somebody with a gown walk across the bathroom, and I was like, I'm just seeing things. This is really weird. But no, we actually do have paid actors. Some of them like to be dramatic and like to bring like canned beans or some type of ravioli in a can and put it in their mouth and spit it out to imitate vomiting. Right? So extra, not necessary, but that's just makes it feel more real, right? And when it is time to provide care, like, oh, we need to do chest compressions, you won't do it in the actor because that'll hurt them. The mannequin will be next to it, I won't do that. During this time you're doing these simulations, it is being monitored and recorded, as well as your fellow cohort peers will be in the next room watching you do this. And now it sounds a little scary, but you are also watching them when they do it. And you're providing feedback and getting feedback. And again, practice makes perfect. And you get feedback provides to enhance the learning. So make sure that that's allowed and available. So as well as student support, if you decide on going to one of the regional campuses, you are dual enrolled technically. So you get to use whatever that university you're learning from, as well as OHSU's resources. So learning and writing center, student academic support services, educational debt counseling and financial management. If you need help learning how to budget, we have specific people to help you with that. As well as once you're ready to graduate, if you did take out loans or just want to be able to pay off your loans faster, you can talk to them Student Inclusion Success Coordinators, that's my role. We provide extra additional feedback and resources for students. An example of our resources is that we know where there's additional funding. So for example, students' car broke down last year. They need their car to go to the clinical sites and to come to class. And if they couldn't fix their car, they would fail the class. And we don't want to see that. We don't want them to fail at all. So we were able to find some funding and give it to them. So the student got their car fixed, and next thing you know, they didn't miss a day of class. But that wouldn't have happened without our support. So again, we want the students to succeed. We'll do whatever we can to help them with that. Program support, staff and faculty advisors, as well as peer-to-peer mentorship. So when it comes to financing, we are a public university, so FAFSA, if you're familiar with that, we do accept that. We're one of the schools that you can enter. We have a code and everything, as well as offer scholarships. So OHSU as a whole has scholarships, and there's a specific fund for Western Oregon University applicants. So again, we try to give as much funding as we're allowed to give, depending on how much need there is. So like last year, we usually get typically $20,000 to give to students specifically at the Western program. But last year, somehow, miraculously, we got $100,000. That's a big jump, that's 80K more, right? But we had less students to ask for financial aid. So that means instead of giving out $1,000 scholarships to the few that did, we give them 5. A few of them maybe got full rides. So apply to scholarships, apply as much as you can, you never know. But yeah, after you get your licensing, you are able to work at a hospital, but if you want something more calmer than that, you can always work at a community health setting. So like a school district nurse, there's such a high need for school district nurses because you're taking care of basically almost the whole school. Not just that school, but all the other schools, like elementary and high school and all that. So there's a need for that. It's also more calmer. But again, if you wanted to go back to school and provide more care to the bigger set of community, you can always go back to school and become like a family nurse practitioner. That's a 3-year program. And you have to become a nurse first before you can do that. But that's 3 years of education, and you're able to prescribe medicines to people, and you're able to open up your own clinic. So you're basically a doctor, just without the title, and like 8 years less of schooling. Right? So it's a good, and one of our current professors is a FMP. So if you're always curious, you can always contact her. Again, if you have any other questions or anything, you can always contact me. That's what I'm here for. That's what my role is. As well as, I don't know how familiar you are with Ford Family Foundation's scholarship. They are an Oregon-based scholarship, specifically in Eugene, and they are a scholarship that provide 90% of what you can't pay for. So it's basically a full ride. And that includes room and board, food, everything you can think of when it comes to going to college. They'll pay for it. So we are partnered with them for a virtual informational session. It's really them talking a lot about how Ford can pay for your medical school because we're a public university and we're in Oregon, we fit all the criteria they're asking for. Yes, I'll be there too, giving a quick presentation, quicker version than what I'm doing today about this, but also we'll have current students that are Ford Family Foundation scholars in this, so you can ask questions about how's their nursing schooling going and all that, and ask all those like specific questions. One of them is actually from our campus, so you actually get to experience somebody that knows what they're talking about. So, but other than that, that's all I have today. So, really appreciate everybody taking the time. So, thank you.